ring the bell, and get ready to think about this one. I guess I'm ready for my close-up. We will show you all the goals. Wait, what's the score? 3-3? 3-2? Red gets some more swag. Sportsnight is next.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
Gotta love that swag. I'm Howie Shapiro, by the way, in case you didn't know.
And not a lot of stuff to get to. A regular week, just 1 week worth of action, but everybody really getting down to crunch time. Is just a couple weeks left for girls hockey, and then teams. Girls hockey will be first into the playoffs, and then it'll be everybody starting within the next couple weeks after that.
Yeah, before you know it, winter season will be over, but we're almost there. It's
now
not that
we
far
finally
away.
have winter-like weather.
I know, right?
And we get an opportunity to talk with the cross-country ski team.
I love that.
For the first time a little bit later in the program. But we'll start with the boys hockey team. They started their schedule with a trip to Fogarty Arena on Thursday, facing off against division-leading Spring Lake Park. Panthers had won 3 in a row in 8 of their previous 10. Their only division loss was to Irondale, who Coon Rapids had beaten the week before. So the Cardinals knew they could beat this team, but they would have to be at the top of their game for 51 full minutes. It starts right for the Cardinals. Puck chipped up the boards. Springs Mike Frederickson. He's going to pull up, rip the wrister to the top shelf, give Coon Rapids the first mark on the scoreboard. Spring Lake Park, though, answered just a minute later, but the Cardinals get back in front on the rush. Frederickson across in the slot. He'll beat the keeper high glove side, too. Coon Rapids has a 2-1 lead. Panthers answered and tied it again before Koss got his second. Leads the rush. His first shot is stopped, but he follows his own rebound, hammers it home, make it through 3-2. Spring Lake Park tied it once more before the break. Second period, home team coming out hot, 2-on-1. Luke Turnquist passes across and gets it back for the one-timer, puts the Panthers ahead for the first time of the game. Midway through the second now, Panthers just play it out to center. Turnquist collects it behind the defense, steps in, goes top shelf short side. His third of the game makes it 5-3 Spring Lake Park. Cardinals down but not out. Played to the point. McNulty's shot is going wide. Koss is there for the carom. One times it to the back of the net, completing his hat trick and making it a 1-goal game once again. Early third, odd man rush for the Panthers. Turnquist across for Connor Gagnon, who redirects it home. That made it 6-4. Panthers go on to the 8-5 victory. And a good note for the Cardinals, 5 goals for. A bad note, 8 goals against.
Yeah, you don't want to give up 8 goals, obviously. But that first line is playing really well for the boys' squad, and you know, Noah Koss again with the hat trick. And I'm not sure, I didn't get a chance to take a look at how many goals he has, but he's been hot as of late.
Yeah, he has been incredibly hot, and part of it due to his size, but he's getting to the right spot. And that line, Mike Frederickson, very good at setting him up. Travis Hess, Frederickson, and Koss pretty much all in on each other's goals throughout this season. So that has been a fun line to watch. And they did get some production from down the line, getting a goal from Cody Crandall against Spring Lake Park as well. But they need to have more consistency there, and they need to play stronger in their defensive end. That showed again on Saturday. They traveled to Minnehaha Academy, and they lost this one 7-3. Minnehaha Academy, a pretty good double-A team, but a team that, as the Cardinals, a single-A team, Minnehaha Academy, as a double-A team playing in a very tough conference. That's the kind of game you see on your schedule. The Cardinals have to go in there and really get that victory. Noah Koss had a couple more goals again against Minnehaha Academy. Peyton Nash made 37 saves, but the Cardinals give up 7. And here's another opportunity coming up on their second time through the division standings. They got Osseo at home on Thursday. Then they're at Champlin Park on Saturday. 2 teams that the Cardinals, especially Osseo, the Cardinals should have a very good chance to win that game, get some redemption from earlier this season. Champlin Park, not as strong as they have been in some of the previous seasons. Going to be a very tough test. But again, a game that the Cardinals have to go in there at least feeling that they have a chance in giving their best effort and having some confidence, and that goes a long way when you start to play the game.
You know, nice to see another goal by Cody Crandall. 2 goals in 2 games, and certainly a nice effort from him as well. Well, the girls' hockey team continues to roll as we get even closer to tournament time. Just 2 weeks left in the regular season. Last week, the Cardinals, with a couple of home games at the Crick, they're outside against East Grand Forks on Saturday night. But first, they played host to the lowly North Metro Stars, who gave them more of a game than would have expected. Spring Lake Park, Coon Rapids starts the scoring on the power play early in the first period. Brina plays it back to the point, lets a Hanson shot, makes it through the traffic, and past the keeper to put the home team up 1-0. But the Stars weren't about just to roll over. They scored twice in less than a minute apart. This shot deflected twice out front. Tatum Manning finishing at the back door to give her team the 2-1 lead. But that wouldn't last long. SLPCR on the power play again, working to cross the top to Hannah Schultz for the big one-timer. That gives her team a big lift. Nice goal there. Offense firing on all cylinders in the first. Turnquist finds Hanson filling the lane. She nets her second of the game and puts her team back in front with the first 3 goals came from the Blue Liners. Power play paid off 3 times in the first as well. Turnquist down low to Brina. She moves it to the backhand, slides it to the wide open net. SLPCR up 4-2 after the first. They added the lead early in the second. Pretty moves by Turnquist, a toe drag to find space, and then a rock to the rope. High stick side, that made it 5-2. And SLPCR held on for a 6-4 win. More of a game probably than they thought they would get when they faced the Metro.
Well, and I was
Metro
actually
Stars.
there for my son was practicing outside while the game was going on. I watched a lot of the third period, and it was a scare. It was 6-4 with an empty net. So, you know, North Metro, I think the Cardinals put up 9 against them the first time around.
They did, yes.
This is a team that, again, teams beneath you in the standings that you have to go out and get those wins, and you have to get them decisively, and you have to be doing everything right. I'm not sure exactly what went wrong because, you know, they were definitely seemed to be the faster team. They were getting to the pucks. Things were moving their way, but, you know, some good long possessions in the offensive zone for North Metro. A team, obviously, that is growing and getting better as the season goes on, but, you know, I'm sure that the girls went into that game not thinking they were going to have that difficult a time against the Stars.
Well, especially when you put 9 in the net the first time, obviously. But they did get the win, and that's the most important thing. Maybe didn't play the way they wanted to, but they did come out on top, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, keep their streak alive, and they made it a little bit longer on Saturday. It was blustery cold outside on Saturday night, but they still played host to East Grand Forks on the outdoor rink. Beat them 3-1. Taylor Turnquist.
Yep.
I'm just going to take the next 5 minutes off. Taylor Turnquist had a goal and 2 assists. Brina D had the other 2 goals. Schultz and Hackett picking up assists. Sammy Miller back between the pipes got the win with 24 saves. Girls hockey team at Jefferson on Tuesday. Another nostalgic rink for me up at the Big down in Bloomington.
Back in the day.
And another team that I'd love to see the Cardinals come out on top against, Bloomington Jefferson. Then they're on home ice against Armstrong Cooper on Saturday. And that's, after that, just 2 more regular season games. It's playoff time.
Yeah, nice season, 16-4 record overall. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, they're fun to watch.
Yeah, they really
are.
are.
To be certain.
Yep.
Well, the wrestling team is looking to finish the season strong, and that means, among other things, winning the duels that they know they have to. That includes matches like last week against Andover. Cardinals may not be the dominant force they typically are in the Northwest Suburban, but they still must be able to dispatch those teams towards the bottom of the standings. Huskies couldn't fill 4 different weight classes, but it's still close until the middle weights when the Cardinals take over. Josh Bryant catches his man trying to duck under, turns it into a headlock and just squeezes it to the finish. Gets the slap on the mat and starts a string for Coon Rapids. Joey Bothwell up next at 160. Great counter to get the single leg. He'll go to the headlock to finish it off as well, forcing his man's shoulders down right at the center of the mat. Cardinals up 32-15 with 5 classes left. They say good things come in threes, and they did for the Cardinals this night. Jack Scheck gets the 3rd straight pin for the home team, rolls his man over with the half Nelson, and will get the pin right there as he goes chest to chest. Move ahead to 195. Great movement by the big man, Hank Lovick, for Coon Rapids. Has to work for this one, and it finally pays off. Lovick gets the pin, and the Cardinals go on to the decisive victory over the Andover Huskies. And like I said, that is what they need to do against those teams those lower teams in the conference, especially when they don't fill 4 weight classes, they've got to go out and be dominant.
Well, yeah, and you know, not this as strong a team as they've had in the past, but against a team like Andover, you know, it brings a little back confidence because you go out. If it had been a closer match, you know, maybe the confidence level wouldn't have been there, but you go and you beat Andover handily, and that's good for the program.
Yeah, and they had another tough tournament over the weekend, the Stillwater Stampede, and they took the Ponies on in the first round, beat them 37-35, then faced off against Section 7 rival Cambridge Isani, come up on the short end against the Blue Jackets 34-30. They finished it, though, with a 32-29 win over Bloomington Kennedy.
There you go.
So 2-1 out of that, 3-1 on the week. Things looking good, but a very tough match coming up this weekend. They're at Champlain Park on Thursday,
correct,
which, again, the Rebels, another one of those teams that the Cardinals want to go in and really beat decisively. But then they're at Scott West on Friday. Scott West, a highly ranked team in AA, and they are going to give the Cardinals everything they can handle.
And I believe we see them a week from Friday when they take on Anoka, who is one of the premier wrestling squads in the state.
Last I looked, I did not look this week. I think last week they were at 3.
3, I thought that's what I saw as well. Well, the gymnastics team had just one event last week, facing one of the top teams in the Metro. The Cardinals had their best meet of the year so far, getting contributions from everyone and putting up a great score. Unfortunately, their opponents set the bar incredibly high. This meant while the scores were solid, the places didn't look very good. Great vault coming up for Callie Lawrence to start the evening. She sticks the landing, earns an 8.8. Unfortunately, only good enough for 4th place. Moving to the bars, notably the Cardinals' weakest event, but again, standing alone in this is a great routine for Hannah Gross. A solid 8.275, but again, that's a 4th place finish. Top finisher on the beam was 6th place. Then on the floor, it's Kamika Hurdle leading the way for the Cards, puts up an 8.6 to finish in 5th place. We finished with Callie Lawrence. She was the 6th on the floor, but finished the evening as 4th all around with a 33.1. Best team score by far for the Cardinals, an outstanding 127.3, but Champlain turns in a 144.575, showing just how far there is to go.
Yeah, that's an impressive number.
Absolutely.
You know, the Cardinals, outstanding work. 127, you know, for them to start in the 120s. It's exactly where they wanted to be. For them to have improved to this point up to a 127, right where they want to be, really making the progress they want to see. They're getting more girls to get into their top places, giving competition. You know, you saw at the beginning of the year it was all Hannah and Callie, and now you see some more of the other girls pushing them,
which is great,
and taking those top spots, getting ahead of them in some events, and that's going to be huge for the program. Not only does it mean that everyone is going to improve that much more in practice, but their scores are going to be that much better on event nights as well.
Without a doubt.
Gymnastics team actually on the mat right as we speak, doing this on Monday night for the ABC Pursuit. They will be at Irondale Spring Lake Park next Thursday. Big week for the swimming and diving team with the Section 7 AA True Team section coming up on Saturday. Last week, just one event for the Cardinals, hosting the Irondale Knights. The Knights are a divisional opponent that was also looking for its first win in the West. Cardinals were looking to be competitive to the end. That's not the way it turned out. Senior night at Northdale, the Cardinals celebrating their 5 seniors and, of course, giving huge props to Mom and Dad along with a couple of flowers. Irondale set the tone early, opening event of the 200 medley relay. Matthew Struss, Andrew Trong, Pierre Nahar, and Miles Pluger swimming for the Cardinals. A 7th grader, a freshman, and 2 sophomores. They put up a decent time, finishing in 2 minutes, 0.85 seconds. That's 3rd place and an early lead for the Knights. They build on it with 1, 2, 3 finishes in the next 2 events. Seth Rudd-Rogan finally puts an end to their podium dominance in the 50 free. Rudd-Rogan glides to the wall in 26.28 seconds. That's 3rd place. Knights sail to a 93-73 win in this one. But again, from what I get from Coach Doug Donaldson, very impressed and happy with the progress he's seeing in the times. The times are coming down. The attitudes are great. Everybody's working hard. They're swimming in whatever event he asks them to. And again, just 5 seniors, a ton of 10th, 9th, 8th, and 7th graders.
Well, yeah, what I was going to say. It's impressive to see some of these youngsters really step up and do well. And, we talk about it at the beginning of the season. It's just an opportunity to improve your times event after event. And with the youngsters getting the contributions they are, that only means good things for the program for the future.
Yeah, hopefully they can keep them all involved and maybe get a couple more of their friends to come out and see that those numbers continue to grow as the program moves forward. That would definitely go a long way towards helping them be more competitive with those top-notch programs that have 40, 50 kids in the pool. The Cardinals are hosting Cambridge Isandi on Tuesday, and then they will again host the True Team Section 7 AA meet on Saturday.
And we'll get to see them next week for our.
We will.
Absolutely.
We will.
Well, the Nordic ski season got off to a slow start due to the weather, but the Cardinals are now off and flying. They spent a lot of extra time doing dry land training to get ready, and it's already paying off. The Cardinals are showing steady signs of improvement in their short time on snow, and they're hoping nothing will slow them down.
Nordic skiers throughout the Metro didn't get much time to get on the snow before the first of the year, and now everyone is hustling to make up for lost time.
We've only had a couple of races because of the lack of snow, but we're catching up.
The extended preseason was not really wasted time, though. It just meant the Cardinals, along with most of their opponents, had to modify how they were training for the season.
Well, we did a lot of indoor training like technique and strength, and then we also have roller skis.
Fundamentals and technique will be important, especially for a very young girls squad.
Girls were a little bit younger right now, but we're also a little bit smaller. We're only sitting at 11 right now, so it's younger and smaller than what we want, but they're actually, they're good kids, they're working hard, and considering most of them are 9th grade and younger, it gives us an opportunity to start building from here on out.
There are only 2 seniors on the squad, only 1 in the top 5. So this will be a table-setting type of season for the Cardinals.
It'll be good to build up the next generation.
The story is a little different for the boys. They have better numbers with strength and experience at all levels, and they're pushing each other every time they take to the snow.
I think they all are really motivated to try harder and really do their best.
The Cardinals have had a little success already, but they're far from being satisfied. They have their eyes on some bigger prizes, and they feel their goals are lofty, but attainable.
I think it would just be cool to make it in the top 2 or 3 in our sections race, because we've won a couple races already so far, so I'm hoping we can continue that all the way through the season.
The timetable is compressed, so every race is even more important. But the Cardinals are taking big strides right out of the gates, showing they're putting in an effort that will give them a chance at the finish.
But they're getting good experience in, and the lack of snow at the beginning of the season is affecting us a little, but we're improving now when we need to.
There you see it. We caught up with them at this event, the first classic race of their season. The boys finishing 4th place in that Northwest Suburban Conference event. Dan Matthews leading the way in 8th place, just under 16 minutes. Paul Breitbach in 10th, just over 16 minutes. Rick Petroff, Tommy Kicker, and Zandarowski round out the top 5 for the boys. For the girls, they finish in 5th place. Leading the way, Abby Ellenbecker in 19th place in 1911. Olivia Ellenbecker in 24th, just about 40 seconds back. Izzy Haberman came in 34th with Emily Ford 43rd, and Margot Grady finishing 79th place in 24 minutes, 23 seconds. And of course, their schedule is still ever changing. Now it's more based because of it's been so cold.
It has been extremely cold.
Then they had to cancel some stuff or postpone stuff because it was so cold. They actually were supposed to do the ABC relay over the weekend, but that was pushed back. That'll be done Wednesday and Thursday of this week at Greenhaven Golf Course. Northwest Suburban Conference Championships already coming up a week from today, next Monday.
At least they have plenty of snow, so they don't have to worry about that.
They don't really, though. We don't have a lot of snow.
Well, we have enough, though. I mean, it's
Most
enough
of it,
snow where they're able to race in. So,
yeah, well,
but the problem is with the cold,
man-made
it's a lot
too.
of it iced. It's icy too as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Alpine ski team continues its season. This past week, they were at Wild Mountain for the first time. The boys team finishing in 10th place overall. Jake Luer had the best finish in 39th with a combined time of 1 minute, 7.69 seconds. Aaron Caroon was 43rd. Sides was 61st. Tweedy in 66th. And Josh Whelan finished in 70th place in 1 minute 27.70. Girls, the Bolin sisters, the only ones to finish both runs. And Molly, again, a great finish.
Nice
Third
race.
place, finishing with a combined time under a minute, 59.46 seconds. Emma Bolin, not that bad either, 21st place in 1 minute, 6.74 seconds. And, you know, you look at it, you might think 21st place, oh, that's not very good. Well, there are like 60 or 70 or 80 of these girls.
Absolutely.
Because it's like 10 or 12 schools. And a couple of the schools are like Coon Rapids. They've only got 2, 3. I think there's one team only has one girl on that is out there skiing for them. But there's a lot of racers, and some of the programs that are a little more healthy, they've got way more girls than they can possibly
without
count.
a doubt.
So race 3 for the Alpine ski team is on Tuesday of this week at Wild Mountain. That last race was at Trollhagen. That was my mistake. This Tuesday they're at Wild Mountain. Then on Thursday they're back at Trollhagen.
Okay, got it straight.
I had a 50-50 chance and I was wrong. Again, much like Aaron Rodgers and his call on the coin toss. That's the way it goes.
He was wrong.
Well-
Yeah, he was wrong twice.
Well, they only asked him once.
I said, yeah.
That's the way it goes. Entering last week's play, it really looked like Cardinals boys basketball team had a great opportunity against two other teams struggling to find wins. On Tuesday, they hosted Centennial. The Cougars and Cardinals each had 2 wins on the year, but the Cougars had a conference win while the Cardinals were still looking for their first. Coon Rapids was looking for a good effort that would pull them even in the conference standings. Cougars pounce on the Cardinals early in this one, getting their offense going right off the opening tip. Nice movement to find Theodore Johnson inside for the easy bucket. I don't know. Centennial led 7-0 at that point. Cardinals trying to keep it reasonable. Carver's jump shot is off. Keller there to tip it in. Still, it's a double-digit lead for the Cougars. Centennial back on the attack. Keaton Kuznia finds his way to the lane. That won't fall, but Josh McGrill there to tip the rebound up and in. Cougars on top by a dozen at the half. They continue to add to it in the second. Great movement on the offensive end. Just a great feed on the bounce to Johnson underneath for the finish. I don't know how he found that passing lane, but he did. Cardinals trailing big, but trying to make a big push. Come back in this one off the turnover. Tyrion fires down court to Keller behind the defense. He finishes 2 of his game-high 24, but the deficit just too big. Reese Mon loses his balance, turns it over midcourt. That leads to the break and the two-handed jam. Centennial cruises to a 78-65 win.
Yeah, the Cardinals were able to cut back into that lead a little bit, but I was so impressed with Centennial's inside-out game. They did a nice job underneath, but they really hit well from the perimeter, especially from behind the arc. And, you know, that really built that lead in that game.
Well, and unfortunately for Coon Rapids, they saw a team that could do the same thing again on Friday.
Yeah, well, another game, as you're talking about on Friday, another great opportunity for the Cardinals to get off the Schneid when they traveled to Andover. Love the Schneid. The Huskies, another team that's just ahead of the Cardinals in the standings with 1 conference win, and they had just 1 win in their previous 11 games. Definitely a beatable opponent for Coon Rapids. Cardinals coming out fast and trying to get everyone involved. Defense turns to offense early, and Nick Keller at the other end, lay it up and in. The fast pace working well for Coon Rapids early. Tyrion Johnson gets a step to the baseline, scores to give the Cardinals a 4-point lead. Just starting to get everyone going. Good movement to find Dial Lau. The open look, that made it 25-19 Coon Rapids. Andover called a timeout and then responded with a 16-0 run that included 4 3-pointers. They took a 9-point lead into the locker room. Huskies picking up where they left off in the second. Nate Rodewald hits a 3-pointer from the corner to push the lead to double digits. Cardinals trying to keep pace. Nick Keller with the steal, the drive, and the dunk. He led the Cardinals with 25 points and 9 rebounds. But the Huskies' lead was just too big, and they stretch it out at the end. Easy basket underneath for Corbin Johnson. Andover cruises to a 79-61 win. And, you know, we talked about that timeout. Cardinals looked good early on in that game.
Did.
After that timeout, just something happened. The wheels fell off, and give credit to Andover because they really were able to extend that lead with some great perimeter shooting.
Well, in both games, I think we saw the same thing that we've been talking about all season and for seasons long since
Yes.
passed. Consistency. Cardinals came out. They looked really good offensively and defensively on Friday at the beginning of the game. After that timeout, all of a sudden, all of Andover's shooters were open, and they weren't collapsing on the rebounds either. And on the offensive end, they just looked confused. They got out of rhythm. I don't know that Andover did anything dramatically different on defense, but all of a sudden Coon Rapids wasn't communicating and they weren't moving the basketball. They were the way they were in that first 6 to 8 minutes.
It's unfortunate because the game against Centennial and the game against Andover, 2 winnable ball games for Coon Rapids. Unfortunately, they just couldn't put it together.
Well, and they would love to get a win on Tuesday when they travel to take on Totino, because that would be a good place to stop your losing streak, because you're probably not going to stop it on Friday when you travel to Champlin Park. Where's Champlin Park now in the standings? I think they're 2 or 3 somewhere. I think somewhere in there. They're top 5 somewhere. Either way. Well, the girls basketball team also looking at this past week as a chance to get some things turned around and hopefully get some momentum at their back. The Centennial Cougars came in playing strong, but still in the middle of the conference. It's the kind of team that the Cardinals could surprise, but they would have to be at the top of their game, as the Cougars had won 6 of their last 8 games. Good game going early as the Cardinals are keeping pace. They feed Kaylee Porish in the high post. She'll take it to the hole with the left hand. Porish led the Cardinals with 17 points. Midway through the first, and we're still in a nail-biter. Pass goes inside to Porish. She finds Marina Nyberg at the top of the key. She'll hit the three-pointer, make it a one-point game, 19-18 Cougars. Centennial responds by going on a big run to take control before the break. Three-pointer is off. They control the rebound, move it to Claire Orth for the short jumper. Cougars up 36-22 at the break. Early second half, Marina Nyberg jumping the pass and leading the rush. Her shot is off the mark. Carly Anderson is there filling the lane to put the rebound home, but it's still double-digit deficit. Cougars keep coming. Great play with all 5 players in transition. Sarah Groh will finish it underneath the basket, plus the foul. Cougars getting all parts of their game going. Defense right there, and quickly get that turned around to offense. Get it down court quickly. No one can catch Nikki Clark as she lays it up and in. Centennial runs away with this one down the stretch. 73-38 was the final.
Yeah, not a lot of offensive production for the Cardinals. And, really having Marina Nyberg back from injury is important, obviously. And Kaylee Porish is playing really well, averaging, I think, almost 15 points a game so far this season. So, those are some bright spots, but they'd like to get the W.
Well, and a big thing is, Porish is doing that despite drawing huge focus from opposing defenses, because they all see the box scores. They know. They're paying a lot of attention to number 23 in the middle. They're paying a lot of attention to number 25. But in order for the Cardinals to be successful, 2 things have to happen. One, they have to find consistency, same as the boys team does.
They do.
You can't play well in spurts and still hope to be winning ball games unless your spurts are really long.
Yeah,
and only divided by very short down spurts.
This conference is so tough, and it's tough to do that. And if you're not consistent, and if you're not keeping the score close, it's gonna be a long season.
And the other thing the Cardinals need to do in order to be successful, they need to get more contribution from the other players on the court, at least to draw some of that defense away from Porish and outside, and try and get her a little more space to work with. It opens up so much more of the things you can do when the other team respects all 5 players on the floor as legitimate threats.
Without a doubt, because if they start pulling some coverage away from Porsche, she's going to be that much better.
Yeah. Well, the Cardinals will host Totino Grace on Tuesday, and Howie?
We'll be there.
Then they will host Champlin Park on Friday. Was that enough?
I think so.
I think it was enough.
I think it was a good one.
It's all the stuff I got for you this week. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us to continue to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including the one and only Howie Shapiro, I'm Joe Young. Say good night.